Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm taking a look at the second issue of the Four Doctors series, written by Paul Cornell, and I think the artist is Neil Edwards. So yeah, you've got a Doctor Who comic weekly event, which is quite odd really, quite unique even, and I think that's because I don't really know why they did this. I think it was to do with the Doctor Who Day, actually, or Doctor Who Comic Book Day, should I say, more specifically. I think that's why they did this. Then you have the David Tennant in this sort of really dynamic running pose, with like his fists clenched and kind of having the TARDIS, the Sonic even, sort of in a clenched grip, but the way that it's sort of angled looks kind of like a torch. I'm not a big fan of this this issue's cover even. I much prefer the first issue cover, but yeah, this is number 2. It's got it there in the barcode, but it's also got it nicely put there in this sort of really sort of retro-y sort of way where the TARDIS looks really nice and sort of 3D effect, and then it says 2 of 5, which it was, 4 Doctors, and then on the back you've just got a advertisement for Big Finish, 3rd Doctor Adventure 1. On the inside you've got a previous thing, which is just a synopsis to catch you up if you started with this issue, if you weren't able to get the first issue. Then you've got a bio on the 10th Doctor, his companion, the 11th Doctor, his companion, the 12th Doctor, and his companion as well. Then you've also got the Titan Comics website, Twitter and Facebook. And then on the other page you've got Doctor Who, the 4 Doctors, writer, artist, colorist, letterist, editor, assistant editor, and designer. I like this first sort of bit. I mean, I was a bit weirded out that it was there at first when I was reading this issue, because obviously the last thing that happened in issue 1 was that the Reapers came out of a time portal, or a portal of some sort, and well, I thought that was gonna just be the next thing that happened, you know, how they're gonna get out of that sort of situation. You could argue this sort of takes you out of the immersion, but considering it's only in 1 page, I think it's alright, and I do like this different sort of aesthetic, and this sort of cartoony look. It really is about how Gabby, the 10th Doctor's companion, sort of perceived how the Doctor's other selves would be, as they are represented here. And to be honest, this one, with the costume at least, kind of reminds me of Peter Cushing. And then you obviously have it leading on from what happened at the end of issue 2, I mean issue 1 even. Yeah, I really like the artwork in this. The artwork is very nicely done. I think there are quite a lot of sort of, I don't know, like funny moments really, where you get obviously the different TARDISes and stuff. And that, I think there are a lot of different sort of bits in this, yeah, as I say, with like different TARDISes and interiors and that, and there's a lot of just little bits of comedic elements, like for example the 11th Doctor saying that he might even win a foolish Doctor competition or something, which I thought was quite funny, or a bit where the 12th Doctor says something along the lines of, okay, we've not got to make any weird gestures or like movements, is that even capable for you? And he's obviously referring to the 11th Doctor. I think this, at least issue 1 and 2, so more so this one, has a lot of, as I say, comedic elements, which I think is quite an oddity really, because I think in a lot of Paul Cornell's writing, what I've experienced of it personally, it's mainly a lot more darker and grittier and stuff, with a bit of comedic stuff here and there, but I feel like this is a lot more comedic stuff than dark and gritty stuff, really. Don't get me wrong, I think the cliffhanger was really good, and that, which I won't show you, because obviously that would be ruining it for you, but yeah, yeah, I do think, as I say, the comic book is good. You've got all the other graphic novels you can get. As I say, I've got that one now because of my best friend over at Nerd Central, so big thanks to him for getting me that. This is the cover for the next week's issue, and then obviously all the other ones you can get, and just saying that you can get them on digital devices as well. I think, as I say, I think it's not what people expected, so I think a lot of people were disappointed with this. I will obviously find out when I read this. I think, as I say, I think the beginning is good, considering that it didn't follow directly on from issue 1. I don't think it took me out of the immersion too much. I think the cliffhanger was good. I think the major gripe, for me at least, is the middle. Because I think, aside from the sort of comedic stuff, I think a lot of the middle section and / the main content or the bulk of this this issue of the Four Doctors has a lot of timey-wimey sort of paradoxical stuff going on, and I think if you're not a massive fan of Doctor Who, or if you don't have your head sort of completely sort of screwed on and switched on, so to speak, then you might sort of feel like this is quite a bit too much to slog through. As I say, though, I do think it sort of picks up right at the end with the cliffhanger, so it does kind of make you want to read more, but then it might go downhill from there, I don't know. As I've not obviously read the rest of these issues, I am reviewing them as I'm reading them. So this is sort of a first impressions, but I will do a retrospective of all 5 of the issues afterwards, after I've read them all, to see if my opinion's changed on any of them, or, what I think of the series as a whole. I think the dynamic between all of the Doctors is very good. I think that's one of the major selling points to this. I would go so far to say it's up there with sort of Light at the End, where purely for the element of Doctor interaction and dialogue between each other, I think this story, I think it uses that as a mask to mask and sort of glare over the sort of story, which is a bit more sort of complex and might have a few plot holes, I'm not sure. But I think, as I say, I think that's the main selling point. But if you don't want a sort of multi-Doctor story from this sort of series of issues, then you might be, you might feel disappointed even. So yeah, I mean, you can get this one if you want, but I don't know, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens in issue 3, and I enjoyed reading it, and as I say, I'm eagerly anticipating the next issue, and yeah, it's definitely above average, but it's not perfect by any means. I think it could have been better, it could have been, as I say, written better and sort of done a bit better here and there, but I think overall it is a good issue, and I would recommend you pick this one up if you can find it for cheap. Thanks for watching, comment, rate and subscribe, and if you have this issue, please do tell me what you think about it in the comment sections below.